All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. Tonight we have the Area 51 Dark Horse Series here tonight at Michigan International Speedway, 2 mile oval here. And right now, drivers putting down their qualifying laps for tonight's event. And again, so 100 laps here tonight. No green white checkers, however, one fast pair available for the drivers. So I was saying this is, to me, probably one of the more fun races one of the more fun tracks, I should say, for this car. Nice and wide. You still have to kind of position yourself in the right place, right time. A lot of strategy involved in this one, and yes, I fuel might even be another strategy into this one as well, because it sounds like fuel window is going to be right on the edge of probably about that low to mid 30s. And so if they can go that 33, 34 lap distance, that's going to be the magic number to be able to make this a two-stop race. But again, though, I mean, if and when cautions fall, it can all change up. So we'll find out. Will be fun to see. I will have Andrew Wood in the booth with me here this evening as well. I'll say I think we got about 16 cars at the moment. I say still got a bunch on track to make their laps. So, but what I do want to show before we get too far along is, again, we're getting towards a point of the season where we got to look at the championship. And right now, Craig Forsyth, and you can also see there is a drop week included now. But right now, Craig Forsyth with a 25-point lead over Matt Wagner. Charles Teed, another 25 back there in third. Then you've got 80 points out, Gary Laverne, Yari Brupacher 90 out, and Dan Morera there 97 points out of the lead. So those are the closest right now. Those are the top six. And then Christopher, say he's been kind of part-time. And that said, with his 4 starts, I mean, he's had a win, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s. So he's had a top 10 every start that he's had, but unfortunately just hasn't been able to run the full season. Otherwise, it's pretty obvious he'd be vying for those top 2, top 3 spots. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that as we get closer along towards the latter half of the season. And speaking of which, as well, that season, tonight, obviously in Michigan, this is race number 8 of 12. We'll be off next week, and then the final 4 races for the season will be at Worldwide Technology Raceway, or Gateway as I typically call it, Texas Motor Speedway, Kentucky, and finishing up at Auto Club. So say a bit of a shorter, flatter track there with Gateway, and then 2.5 miles, followed by the kind of the sister track here at Auto Club. So should be a lot of fun, the remaining races that we have this season.
Yeah, Kyle, great to be with you. Michigan's always great for super speedway racing is always very exciting. However, sometimes these guys like to save fuel, which kind of gives us a little more to talk about in terms of strategy rather than the 3-4 wide racing that we might see. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what the strategy these guys employ tonight. We have a couple of faces in here we don't see too often, but that just makes it all that more exciting because we got different people with different goals for tonight.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Some are going to be going for points. Some are going to just be going for the wins. And yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, there's a few people that haven't that are new to the series. And so I'm looking at a couple of those names that are new to the series, and right now I'm showing them second and fourth in qualifying. So new to the series, but not new to going fast with these Indy cars. So and I was saying I was a little nervous about one of our main admins being here on time, and I think he cut this thing by the slimmest of margins to get into that server. So we'll keep an eye and see if that is indeed the case. However, I believe, yep, qualifying has just completed. So what we got to do now, Andrew, is pull up our starting grid for tonight. And it is going to be a Craig Forsyth on the pole by 5 thousandths of a second over, again, one of the new faces to the league, Aaron Hobart. Next to him, Eric Peterson. Or sorry, second row, we got Eric Peterson. And then again, one of the newer drivers, Warren Rogers. And I feel like these guys may have came in together. You see the Ohio listed on both those guys. So I wonder if maybe they kind of came along with one another. But obviously, again, 2 quick drivers. Jim Herrick there, he's back tonight. He is going to start at 5th. And then we got Yari Brupacher, Jeff Heisong, Casey Pahutsky, Charles Teed, and Gary Laverne there are top 10. Seth Groover in 11th. Matt Wagner just squeaking in at the very end there. He's going to start in 12th. First of those not putting down a qualifying time. And they've got Brad Adams, Elmer Joseph, Jim Brooks, Bill Colley, and Brandon Briggs. So Yari just chimed in. He timed it a little wrong. He was a little bit too late over the line to get his second lap in. So Yari probably had more in the tank on that 49 machine, but unfortunately didn't quite get there to be able to pull off his final lap there in qualifying. All right, so while everybody starts to get gridded up here, so we'll put the ticker back up on the top so you can follow where your favorite driver is starting here tonight. So you still got a few drivers left to grid, but I mean, Andrew, it's a big open track, a lot of room to drive on, but of course you're still going to try to find that clean air in the front wings of these cars. I mean, what's your strategy in a big pack race like this?
Well, you're always going to want to drive with some sort of fuel save strategy because as long as you stay with the pack, you're not losing anything. So why not save a little bit of fuel with it, right? You kind of want to be towards the front because if anything happens in front of you, you have very little reaction time to try and pick up any sort of situational awareness of what's happening around you. So being too far back might be a little bit dangerous. But I think these guys will probably race it out for about 3, 4, 5 laps or so, and then start to kind of file in and only really find something that moves them forward in such a way that will benefit them later on. But the fuel save brings about a lot of green flag racing, but then brings the pit stop situation. And you don't want to be the first person to pit because you don't want to potentially bring out that caution flag should it happen. But you also don't want to be the last one because then you're sitting out there trying to save fuel for a situation where other people might have said, I'm not going on that strategy. So I think it'll be kind of interesting for a few laps, and everyone's going to settle in, and then during that first round of pit stops, it'll start to get really strategic.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see us, and I definitely have seen the short pit strategy come into play here, and it's actually worked. One of those, let's say, big shocker, Nick DeGroot making some magic happen with that strategy. Where basically he pitted early, but then he was able to merge into the pack, and then when everybody else who was saving was able to peel off, at that point he had already gained all that time back. So gonna be really intriguing to see kind of again what the strategy is, and like I said, who's gonna maybe be aggressive, who's just gonna go ahead and kind of back it down and try to work that fuel mileage right off the get-go. So we'll see. I mean what I've always talked about is when you talk about fuel mileage, I always point at the 99 car, but he's starting on pole, so we'll see what Craig Forsyth here is going to have for the field and what his strategy is going to be as we start to hit that restart zone. Wait for the green flag to fly.
That's one extra point for him, by the way, so that's good for his championship run too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He may fall back during this first lap or so. So let's see what we got going here into turn 1.
Yeah, and saying also, of course, wants to try to lead lap. Oh, got one on the apron. Oh, that's going to be Aaron Hobart again. He's new to the series. Maybe decided, you know what? I don't really want to be in the thick of this right off the bat. So he's going to drop low. And actually, I just saw a little connection hiccup, so that might be what it actually was. And then just in the background, you see that car in the back there. That's Matt Wagner. He was trying to hustle up to catch back up to the field. Didn't quite get there, so we'll see if he's able to tag on just enough. But right now, he's about 2.5 seconds off of Brandon Briggs. But Craig Forsyth going to lead lap 1. So another, like I said, points in the pocket for the 99 car.
I did see he made very slight contact, I think, with Yari as he was trying to get to the bottom there. It sounds like maybe a hardware problem. That's the only thing I can really think of that would bring that situation out. So regardless, I think everyone's okay.
Yeah, so Yari looks like he's doing pretty comfortably as he works the outside there trying to get around Eric Peterson. I say Yari right now, one of the highest climbers. I mean, he's already up to second, starting 4 spots. Now he's going to actually nose ahead of the lead there. And I'm wondering if look how much he took the lead by. I think that's Craig saying, yeah, you go lead these laps. I'm going to my field number right now.
Yeah, it was definitely a situation that could have been much worse. Someone starting on the front row and then suddenly having to dive down onto the bottom line. I'm glad everyone got through it.
Craig now to the apron. He's got some hiccups going on too. Oh no, Craig's big hit,
no.
Couple hits.
Wow.
Something had to have happened to Craig there.
That was most definitely some sort of. I think we have one of these harbor situations, and this looks like a connection situation, something, and he was trying to get himself low, but I think that
just a little too hot still, maybe.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate. I think everyone was out of there. I think Elmer Joseph and Brad Adams might have gotten a little piece of the Craig Forsyth situation.
I mean, you can see right here the car shows up, then it disappears, and it shows up. But right there, though, you can see he's now splitting the seam there. And yeah, I mean, again, these cars, even if you're on track, sometimes it's a challenge. And then yeah, just unfortunately, that car is just going to wash right back up across the path here. And yeah, there's one tries to sneak to the outside, a little bit of contact, and then the 66. So yeah, I think both those cars are a huge hit for Craig afterwards. But yeah, I think Brad Adams, Elmer Joseph definitely getting the worst of that. So man, I mean, just go from the highs of highs to a really big low right off the bat because he's had a toe. I think he's already either maybe disconnected or fallen out completely. But we'll do is we're going to jump back live because we've got some mixed strategy. It looks like here for pit stops, top 6 stay out. But I like the pit stop strategy here because this now probably lets you be a little more aggressive on the fuel side of things if we do go green. So a little bit of mixed bag here.
Yeah, it definitely puts the sketchy fuel save out the window, and it puts you in a spot where you can maybe run a little bit stronger, but you're going to be at the back, of course, and maybe you stay at the back a little bit to save fuel early on. But when some of the drivers are really trying to hit that number, uh, you can actually make some ground. But let's not let's not take into account here the fact that some of these guys up front now have yellow flag running, so they're also saving fuel. But 3 to 4 laps under green flag here really helps that situation, especially if you really want to be more aggressive. And some of these guys in the back really need some good finishes this season, so it gives an opportunity for them to have options, especially when they peel off out front to make their pit stop. Then you could finally find yourself with clean air and potentially jump them later on in the race.
Yeah, like I said, now some of these guys that maybe you would consider fuel saving, now these guys that pitted say, all right, you know what? Now we're going to start being aggressive. So, but yeah, I mean, this again, we showed the points. I'll pull it back up again. So, talk about Craig Forsyth, pole sitter. Yeah, I mean, he's showing as out and retired from the race in 17th. Matt Wagner, we talked about, he almost missed the start of this race. He just got at the end at the edge of time. And even he looks like he's still trying to get some stuff squared away because he's right now pretty much all the way in the back of the field at 16th, just now rolling out of pit road. So, and again, so then it's like, okay, well, who's next in line? And that goes to Charles Teed. He's one of those that did top off, and maybe this is a race where Charles Teed can really close that gap again. You see also on the drop weeks, unfortunately, Charles Teed's missed a couple races, so he's third in points with missing some races, and so unfortunately, with it being the one drop, I think one drop week for the whole season, unfortunately, he's going to have one less start than Craig or Matt potentially. So, unfortunately, he's already got the one mulligan, I believe. So, but I say we'll let the admins figure that one out. So, but yeah, so man, I say again, we're not super far in the season. I mean, this is race number 8 of 12, but this could have a big outcome on the championship. And actually, I can tell you, Craig is back out on track. I believe, yeah, 2 laps down right now. So at least he's back in here. So now he's in that tough spot of hoping for bad luck for others to get him back in the race.
Yeah, so this is one of those situations where Craig had that bad situation. He left the server. He probably did something to his computer to shut a few programs down in order to keep racing, but he's in the championship hunt. He's a championship leader. So he needs to be out on track to take any points he can. And if there's a couple more yellows, if we have a back-to-back yellow situation, he's the lucky dog recipient. So he could easily get himself back into this race based on the rules of this league here. But big shout out to Gary Lovern and Brandon Briggs for moving themselves close to the top 5 from their starting positions. So they've avoided the calamity early, and let's see if they continue to make progress forward.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see what the strategy is now. Did we maybe throw fuel mileage out of the question, or maybe just a little less out of the question, as Yari gets a great launch here on that restart. Eric Peterson there right behind him, and Jim Herrick there sitting in third. So, and then mine on the back, though, these guys are dicing it up. You got one all the way on the bottom. I think that may be Brandon Briggs. Oh, no, actually, that's Gary Laverne. No, that was Brandon Briggs on the inside. Apologies.
Brandon Briggs down below. I think he might have missed the restart there, but he did a good job to kind of pull to the left and not ruin the forward progress anyone else. And so that breaks up the top 6 a little bit. But I think that these guys will actually catch them pretty quickly.
Yeah, say they're still within that 1.5 second window. So what's going to happen is someone like Aaron Hobart here in that 916, he's going to get a huge lap here probably this next time around. He'll probably potentially get even a purple lap just because of that huge toe that he's getting. The other thing we haven't mentioned too much is the line here at Michigan. I feel like this is usually one where, to me, the bottom line is the first seam, not the white line. You want to be just a little bit above that. So I'll be curious to see as well kind of what line some of these drivers take over the course of this run. That said, I do see a few guys kind of peeking their lefts just underneath, but Typically for me, I always feel like the car is a little pushier when you're at the absolute bottom of the racetrack.
I absolutely agree with you. The optimal line is obviously racing to the white line, but unfortunately here at Michigan, there is a nasty bump right at the entry to turn one. And if you hit that bump the wrong way with the wrong weight jacker setting and your car is so much loaded on the right side, that could really upset the car. And where you feel like you have the car set, if you hit that bump the wrong way, it could really set you into a sideways situation where you have to catch the car. It's easily catchable if you're able to figure out exactly where the bump is. But if you have it set so aggressively, that puts you in a situation where you have to actually catch a spin. So I think these guys are going to try their best to stay off the bottom. There was an iconic battle between Henry Bennett and Nick DeGroot here several seasons ago that I was a part of, and I saw Henry hit that bottom line, and he got loose, and Nick took advantage down the back straight, and yeah, it was just one of those situations where you're battling in the last lap, and then you kind of forget where you're at, and you know how to defend, and next thing you know, you're getting passed. So we'll have to watch for that later in the race as well.
Yeah, right now this is definitely the battle on track here. You've got Charles Teed, Casey Pahutsky's right there. So these guys are all, like I said, just trying to find the line. Last time by, actually, Jari Brupacher, you see him. He's actually up on the top side now, even with the clean air. He decided to rim ride there. And so right now Peterson's going to get a big toe. Here comes Teed, though. He's going to get kind of that double draft for a moment. And now he's going to tuck it down to the bottom, see if he can get 2 for 1, entering 3. May even get all 3 spots here as he comes out of 4. Won't quite clear Jari, but he's got the short distance here. Then we're going to put Charles Teed to the point here at this time.
Watching Jeff Hysong, and it looks like he's actually trying to make his move to the front. He's restarted back in the teens, and he's up to P7 now, and he's taking that optimal line we were talking about. He stays above that bump there. He's up to P6 now. I think Jeff's trying to get to the lead.
Yeah, I talk about some of the new names, new faces. Say, again, new to the league, obviously not new to being fast, although I'm looking at that car. I see a lot of new driver stickers plastered all over it there. That's Aaron Hobart there in that number 916, and he takes the point now in that car. So looks like, again, some of these guys getting pretty comfortable, or are some of the regulars maybe just kind of letting him set the pace, set the tone to, again, try to run that fuel mileage. But again, though, very, very differing lines, even for Charles Teed. Ran all the way up against the wall. You said 916 now, so he's going to drop it all the way to the white line. Yari's going to try to follow as best he can to get the draft there. But right now, again, a lot of mixed strategies and a lot of, just, to me, mixed aggression even, too. You mentioned Hysong right now. He's the second of those that did pit under that yellow along with Charles Teed. And then Jim Brooks in the 51 is another. So right now, they're all kind of spaced out fairly evenly. We do still have the whole field, though, in this main pack as we run.
You see Matt Wagner towards the back here, too. He's the only one making moves right now. He's started all the way at the back, and he's passed 2 cars per corner for the last couple laps here. So I think he wants to try and stamp his place of authority here, and he wants to get up to the front in a more comfortable spot, kind of like what I was talking about in the pre-race, where you want to be saving fuel, but you don't want to be in a situation where you have to avoid a wreck. Matt's one of those guys who is fine just hanging out here, but he also does not want to be in the mid-pack or towards the back, so he's going to continue to make some moves.
Ooh. Right there, he's just going to get a face full of dirty air there from, I believe that was Warren Rogers, right in front of him, a little bit of contact. Caution is out. It looks like overall it's going to be not too terrible. Jeff Hysong, actually, he's going to get it gathered back up, and he's going to grab a gear and keep going. So maybe a little bit of side pod damage. I don't think it'd be too bad. But talk about drivers that would be very pleased about that. This guy right there, Craig Forsyth, I don't think he was involved in it. That'll get him one of those 2 laps crucially back. So let's go back. We'll take another look at this, though, between he and Jeff Hysong. Like I said, I think...
See, the car is just drifting a touch right in the middle
there.
Yeah.
And there's always that maybe Jeff's expecting it to, or he's expecting Jeff, I should say, sorry, to drift up a little higher. But you mentioned Matt Wagner, though. I mean, he was right behind that wreck. And so, like you said, he was in a potentially dangerous spot. But again, though, Jeff Hysong will jump back full speed here and just locks it down. And then as soon as it's safe, he'll release the brake and he's good to go. So we'll jump back live here. Leaders are all in. I don't think we'll see any mixed bag here. I think everybody's going to be in for, I would suspect, tires and fuel. Maybe some that took tires on that previous yellow, though, maybe they will actually go ahead and just try fuel only to jump out in front of the field. And like I mentioned, getting one of those two back is Craig Forsyth here in that 99. We should see him just drive right around this pace car. And there he goes. He will get one of those two back. Now we watch for the pit strategy here. Matt Wagner's out pretty quick here, as is Yari. I think some fuel only stops for sure. Those top three, I can definitely say for sure fuel only for Yari, Matt, and Eric Peterson.
I think this completely throws any fuel game out the window. So
Yeah.
from here on out, we are going to be full-fledged racing. But again, we have some guys in this league that think ahead, and they may put themselves in a spot where they want to save a little bit of fuel and put themselves on an alternate strategy when the other guys pit, stay out, and possibly get an advantage later on.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. So with this quick yellow, we'll take a quick break here, show off our wonderful sponsor with 4D Racewear. So we'll be right back.
4D Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 4D racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 4dracewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, lights are off of the pace car. Say we were focusing in on that lovely 4D Racewear machine of Jim Herrick. We'll jump back now to our leader, Yari Brupacher, who will have control of this restart. I can tell you Jeff Heisung, Bill Colley there back on pit road. I think, again, just getting a little bit extra fuel. And saying also for Jeff, he was in the back anyway, might as well. As we mentioned, Craig Forsyth got that lap back, so he's now just one down in the 99 car. So now same thing for him. He's probably just going to try to play it safe here, stay in the draft, save some fuel. Maybe can try to do something a little different on the strategy side of things. So we'll have to wait and see for that. But again, so I'm looking at the pit stop times. I can tell you top three fuel only. The 916 of Aaron Hobart, Charles Teed, and Jim Herrick, 4 tires and fuel. Jim Brooks, Seth Groover, fuel only. And then Warren Rogers, Casey Pahutsky, Gary Laverne, tires as well. And then it looks like Brad Adams, Elmer Joseph, from what I'm seeing, fuel only for them, as well as Brendan Briggs. And then Bill Colley, Jeff Heisung topping off on that one to go. So we'll see how it all shakes out. So still plenty of time to go. So we're going to switch it over here again. Well, Yari is with the control car. He can choose to go as soon or as late as he wants to until that green flag flies once the pace car's off the racing surface. So now it's all up to Yari here.
You know, fuel only sounds like a NASCAR kind of stop to me.
Right?
I don't know about you, but this is very interesting for an Area 51 race. But yeah, it looks like we got all the drivers safely restarted here, so no checkups, no nothing like that. So we're underway, and I'm sure we're going to pack right back up in about a lap and a half or so.
Yeah, exactly right. Right now, the 51, Jim Brooks, he's kind of fallen back a little bit off these guys, saying that car's still not really going forward here. He's kind of just, everybody's right on him, almost like the fuel. We saw some parts flying off there for a second. Not sure if there's contact. There's definitely contact here, though. Big wreck. Oh, my goodness.
I'm not sure what happened there. That's
the
very
51,
strange.
The 51 just seemed, off the pace, almost like a wrong fuel map or something. But I say, so that's going to be, it looks like 4 cars involved. That car's trying to spin around, but not doing too well with it. Casey Pahutsky, he's going to take it straight to the pits to get damage repairs. And I think also it was, unfortunately, Jeff Heisung, I think may have got a piece of it. See, Seth Groover definitely got a good chunk, but I'm going to go back because there's also something prior to this.
Yeah, so there was something that happened up ahead because Eric Peterson had some slower speed and Teed actually hit the back of Wagner. Those are the parts that you saw flying.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah,
really sure
look at that.
What happened there.
Yeah, you see the contact there, and you're right, the front wing of Teed, and then, oh man, look at Jim Herrick in the background. He just had to try to react very quickly, and it looks like he did. And you can see, he's up against the wall there. But then, further back, though, you can see, these guys are 3, almost 4 wide, and I'm not sure for the 51 car, just, it almost looked like the wrong fuel map. Like that car just wasn't going. And then you see up to the outside there, just drifted up there. That's also probably cold tires there. And Casey Putski gets into him. Seth Groover just nowhere for him to go, unfortunately. And then you can see everybody else just trying to sneak on by there. And I'm trying to focus on, actually, I don't think Jeff, we'll see if, was Jeff involved or did he just try to avoid it? Oh yeah, he did get a piece of that because Casey kind of slid right down there. And then probably, actually, yeah, nice and safe ahead of it all was Craig Forsyth. And so we'll jump back live. I'm going to focus on Craig, and yeah, there he goes. Doesn't even take, not even a quarter of the race through here. Craig back on the lead lap. So, yeah, big change there. And of course, now the change of fortunes too. You mentioned the contact with Matt Wagner and Charles Teed. Matt's going to try, looks like, to get this damage repaired manually because he's been in the pits for about 30 seconds now. So I think possibly a rear wing change on the 6 car, maybe some suspension damage as well. Also looking at the 02 and the 18. So yeah, kind of odd situation there. So Yari is doing some texting and driving right now. He was saying that there's a lot of fuel saving going on through the field there. Everybody was running off pace, but yeah, I feel like you were right though, Andrew. I feel like at that point with that caution, fuel is out of the question. I feel like it would have just been at that point a full sprint. Or are they going full fuel save because now they want to try to be greedy and get to, let's say, 40 laps run instead of that 30 number?
Yeah, I don't think that's possible. I don't think it's possible to save that much amount of fuel because, again, you could put yourself on the most conservative fuel number you want, but you need other cars in order to save fuel. You can't just drive around by yourself at half speed. So I actually don't know because we had 2 cars there. It wasn't just one car that had an issue. It was a couple of cars that had some kind of restart speed issue of sorts that it's a little inexplicable. But yeah, I really can't explain it. It might just be kind of dumb luck that it seems to have happened that way. But both those guys have seemed to put themselves in a spot where other cars around them have now had to sort of be a little unsure of what their intentions were, and now they found themselves wrecked. And we have a couple less cars on the track now because of it.
Yeah, so Yari is chiming in, thinking he still thinks one stop is a potential. And I'm just doing a quick number crunch, and with this, we're going to restart this thing on lap number 23, so it'll put us at 70. I think actually 78 to go. I mean, that's 39 laps a tank. That's a long run. I mean, we were talking about Full Ridge being 30 laps. And then we're talking about, they could probably do like 30, 33, 35 to make sure they make that window for a 2-stopper. Man, can you gain 5 laps of fuel in a big fuel safe situation? So this is gonna be intriguing to see. And then again, hopefully we don't see the same thing on this next restart because yeah, that was an odd one. So, but once again though, Yari's got control here. He can go as early or late as he wants to. So we'll see what he does, and we'll see how Aaron reacts to that. And then, like I said, we'll have to keep an eye on that rest of the field. And, of course, also got to watch the accordion on the restart. But Yari's going to jump. He's going to try to snake the field here as we go back to green.
Yeah, hopefully we can get some green flag running down this time. And this time even seems a little more clean, keeping everyone kind of spaced out perfectly to get back in the draft again. So I really don't.
I think that was just Charles Teed got a little too low, maybe a little bit too much weight jacker. Spun it around and say quick yellow here. Matt Wagner got something there as well. Oh, that's a big hit for him. So, man, all of our top 3 in the championship all having issues here tonight. But I think what I saw right there, though, for Teed was I think he just went a little too low here on the start. So I'm going to focus on his car. You can see he's already down to the inside line, down to almost the yellow line. Does he go below it? Oh, look at that. Yeah, he gets his lefts just too low there. At that point, he's along for the ride there.
And I'm watching Matt Wagner side of things here, and I don't really understand what the spin was there, because he kind of got a little bit low, but it was past the bump, and then right on the exit it just took off. So
I'm wondering if maybe he was on the brakes. I'm watching in front of him here. You see the 18, and then I'll say we'll stay focused on him. And yeah, it just starts stepping out on him and just like it won't catch. It just keeps drifting. Then he loses it completely. That's a really weird one too, or maybe just again, just the low speeds, cold tires. I'm not sure, but again, I mean, that's fast repair gone for Matt. That's fast repair gone for Craig. I think Charles Teed will get away with that one for him. He should be able to. Well, I mean, he did kind of catch the wall a little bit after he finished the save, but. And actually, let me go back one more time here, as I do want to focus on the little bit of contact Teed had after the spin, which let me get to the right car here. Apologies. So we can see he's looping it around here, and then he just about has it cleared. But then oh, that's actually a pretty big hit with that right front. That might be a fast repair gone too for Charles.
Just enough speed there where it clattered the right front a little more than the right rear. The right rear might be fine, but the right front definitely has a little bit of damage there that he'll have to have repaired. Yeah, it could be repaired without the fast repair, but it would take a little bit of repair time. But since they're under caution, it may be repaired just on his own volition.
Yeah, and as I'm looking right now, trying to see if how the wheel input looked on the straightaway, but can't really tell for sure. I can tell you he had about a 4-second pit stop. So, and remember I was talking about fuel only, tires only. I just thought about it now, there's a reason why is they have a limited set of tires here, Andrew. So they just can't throw those tires on every time. They've got to be a little strategic about when they throw those tires on. So that could also be playing a little bit of a role in kind of when they pit, when they want to take those tires. But yeah, it's been unfortunately a little bit caution here early on here. Only 25 laps in, 4 yellows right off the bat. So usually it's about the total number we have over the course of the run. And again, pit stop wise, it looks like the top 6 pitted at lap 16. Eric Peterson, Seth Groover at lap 20. And then pretty much Charles Teed on back went ahead and pitted at lap 24. So again, not a huge window, especially with all those cautions, probably not a big fuel difference. But I mean, the story for me though is, like I said, I mean, all 3 of our championship contenders have had troubles here tonight. Like I said, we obviously just saw what happened to Charles Teed. Craig Forsyth right off the get-go there, he had his troubles, and then unfortunately Matt Wagner getting caught up in that one at the end as well. So I mean, this could be a pivotal race for all 3 of these guys to kind of who can bounce back the best from this one tonight and just still get a good result after everything that we've seen here.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. We haven't really had a whole we keep in mind, Gael, we had 4 cautions now, and we haven't even gone through one full fuel cycle yet. A green flag cycle. These guys have to kind of get it together a little bit and play nice with each other just to get themselves a nice green flag run. And unfortunately, we have not seen that yet, and we haven't seen any sort of strategy play out. So I think these guys are all grasping at straws right now just to put themselves in the best spot for a potential green flag run, which keeps getting hampered by further spin yellow flags.
Yeah, I'm saying a lot of it's been just kind of just mistakes. I mean, I don't think it's been anything like over aggression or anything. That was just like, say, we saw the mistake from Charles that last time. We obviously, whatever happened to Craig, he was the same thing. He was kind of straddling the apron, that sent him around. So it's been an odd one here so far tonight. But again, like I said, there's still 3/4 of the race left to go. So I'm sure probably the admin is like, all right, let's take a deep breath, let's regroup, let's get back after it here. So yeah, we'll see how this restart goes. You already see everybody starting to pack up here, get an ANSI to go. Again, Yari's got control. He's going to go a little later again. And they say again, that Snake going to go back down this restart here on the front stretch as they build back up starting lap 27.
So we have Brandon Briggs again pulling to the left. I'm not really sure if he's having an issue on restarts or something like that, but he restarts right in the middle of the pack and breaks the pack up again, which kind of hastens these guys behind him. So we're going to watch Seth Groover here try and make the move on Eric Peterson, perhaps. No, he's going to stay right behind him, but that front pack of 5 is pulled away.
Yeah, and so for Eric Peterson, like I said, he's now there's no fuel saving here. He's got to basically crack the whip and get back to those guys because he is at about that 1.5 second margin, which is out of draft range potentially. Now he is for sure because it's down to 1.55, 1.6. And it's like you said, I mean, I think Yari might be onto it. Is maybe these guys don't want to try to do that extra pit stop. They want to try to save it to the end. So we'll have to watch and see. Like I said, that gap's going the wrong way. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It was 1.7 now, starting to get a little closer. Messe. But again, while these two fight a little bit, well, to keep an eye but up front or towards the front pack, though, I mean, if you're Gary Laverne, this is perfect for you. Just let these guys fight it out up front. You just sit and cruise, save some fuel, and yeah, we'll see how things unfold in front of them. But up front, though, now as you can see, the 916 now, say he's been one he's not wanting to sit and ride. He wants to go. He wants to be aggressive. And so, like I said, he and Warren Rogers new to the series, but definitely shows that they definitely have the pace to be running up front.
I'm scratching my head at the Eric Peterson situation before. He was holding everybody up, then all of a sudden he just picked up the pace, and now he's trying to catch that front pack again. And Seth Groover didn't really do much to help the situation. He was just kind of staying behind him, which really just confused all the cars in the second pack behind. But now we got Eric catching back up to this front pack again. And I'm wondering if it's just a situation where nobody wants to lead a pack. So they were all just hoping that someone would pass them, realizing that they can't pass them. And now they're going to be catching that pack again. As you can see, they're getting very close to that draft range again. All they needed to do was just kind of push a little bit for a lap or two, and they would find themselves in a situation where they can save fuel and not lose any time.
Yeah, they almost should have just, like you said, just gone map one right off the bat. Just make sure you get up there and then turn the wick back down. So if that was the strategy, of course, too. And this is a track where even if you're at the front, though, if you pit under green, you will still go trapped a lap down, correct?
Yes, yeah, you'll get passed by the field as you are on the exit road of pit lane.
Okay. So I feel like, I think Pocono and Indy are pretty much the only two that you can pit without losing a lap, as long as you're far enough up the field, of course. But right now, let's say our top two in the points right now, let's say they're 13th to 14th, not where we'd expect them to be. Charles Teed, he's not that far up either. He's now just cracked the single digits, or trying to crack the single digits, I should say, as he's trying to get around Brandon Briggs. And as you see, he's running a little higher now off that bottom lane, and a little bit further up here now. These guys have definitely gotten dicey, and I say we'll see about Jim Herrick. Like I said, he's got to these guys. What does he do now? Does he stay aggressive, or does he back down the pace? And right now, looks like he's just trying to find a little comfortable spot to slot in here. And right now, though, the two new guys to the league, they run 1-2.
And part of me thinks they know nothing about the fuel saving game. And even though it's not really a fuel save race at this point, everybody's thinking about just trying to shorten their last stop, just from previous experience here. You see that Warren Rogers is taking the lead. They might do a swap draft.
I think they're swap drafting. I'll say so. Yep, this is another strategy, though, Andrew, because now they're just raising the pace of this race, where if everybody was just riding behind one person, okay, yeah, you can maybe pull a big fuel number. But with the swap draft, the pace is going to go a lot quicker. I feel like this could force the hand of those other guys where, let's say you wanted to run a map 4, you might have to crack it out to a map 2, map 3, just to make sure you can stay with this draft. So I like the strategy out of Warren and Aaron here.
I think this would have been a good strategy if it was actually a fuel save race, but unfortunately they're just pushing them into a regular race situation, even though they don't want to be in a regular race situation. So yeah, you're right that it would be interesting if they were trying to pull the pack along and trying to make them burn more fuel. But if they burn more fuel, it's not going to change the number of stops everybody has left in this race.
Yeah.
So this gives these guys, some new guys in the league, a bunch of camera time, which is great for them. Looks like Jim Brooks might have touched the wall there. He's dropping a couple spots. But yeah, it gives these guys some camera time out front, and perhaps we'll be, we're here talking about them. So that's really what it's all about. And yeah, they're raising the pace of this race right now, and everybody else has to kind of try and re-strategize exactly what they're going to do from here.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, like I said, Yari was talking about it a little bit earlier, where he was thinking that he thinks that the one stop was possible. And so, again, he's kind of, I want to say cruising, but I mean, he's sitting comfortably in fourth right behind Gary Laverne, and saying Gary's been having, I wouldn't say a quiet race, but I mean, it feels kind of like, I feel like we've been talking about everybody but Gary so far tonight. So he's had a good run so far early. And I don't know, I always like to be this third place car, because you're letting these guys do all the work, and then you're just grabbing the toe off the two of them. So of the guys saving fuel, I feel like Gary's probably been in the best spot, just because of the fact that he's been kind of in the front of this pack, being able to probably go to a lower fuel map, save more fuel right off the bat, versus like the Eric Peterson, who had to basically chase the field, or sorry, Jim Herrick, I think it was, had to chase the field back down. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Again, on the fuel pit stop side of things, these guys top 4 pitted on lap 16. Eric Peterson at 20. And then Charles Teed is the furthest up that pitted at lap 24. So, but again, a lot of those laps are under yellow, so probably not the biggest of differences. I would say, maybe half gallon to a gallon at most.
Sounds about right. It could be slightly less than that, or it could be slightly more. But I think you're on the right track with those calcs there. But with all those cautions, it's very tough to tell what pit strategy people are going to employ right now and what lap they might pit on. I'm going to assume somewhere probably around the mid-50s or so is when you're going to start to see the absolute fuel savers come down pit lane. But yeah, I would say between 50 and 55 is when we'll see these guys next.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. So right now we do have still the 14 cars in the main pack here. Unfortunately, 3 cars did fall off the main pack right here. You see those 3 here: Bill Colley, Elmer Joseph, Jeff Hysong. Again, I think Jeff Hysong, I think he's just unfortunately limping a lot of damage from that contact that we saw earlier. So that car probably not 100%. These guys up front, though, they continue to just do that swap draft. Gary and Yari have done a good job staying right in touch with them. However, Eric Peterson now, he's dropped a couple tenths of about a half a second off these guys. I say, but right behind him, though, it's been really dicey here with Jim Herrick, Charles Teed, Jim Brooks, Seth Groover. So these guys have been kind of just going back and forth here. Matt Wagner's been right in that mix now as well. So, and then say Craig, I think Craig is trying to play it safe right now in that 99. Again, he knows he's out of fast repairs. So he's like, you know what? A, I'm saving fuel. B, I've got room to react if anything happens up in front of me. So I think that's what we're seeing out of that 99. Again, I think he's definitely thinking big picture. I think after what all happened to him right after the start of this race.
I'm scratching my head at what Eric Peterson's doing. He's in P5 and he sort of holds the pack up, and then he catches back up again, and then he holds the pack up again, and now it seems like for the 3rd time since the restart he's catching them again. I don't know if he's trying to do his own fuel save out front and not sit behind anybody. I'm not sure what strategy he's employing, but every time he holds the field back, they get very hasty behind him, and people start really moving around a lot. So you can see he's sitting in line again now in P6, whereas when you started talking last, he was about a second and a half behind the pack and holding everybody up. So some weird stuff going on here with momentum and speed, especially if you talk about that last restart where everyone kind of was slow and there was some miscommunication and some wrecking going on. But yeah, the 2 newbies are still the leaders here, and they're dragging everyone along, and everybody's now reacted to it. And I think most people, except Eric Peterson, have figured out their lines that they want to take and their best ways of maneuvering themselves forwards, or maybe sitting back a little bit more until we get closer to lap 50 or so.
I said I almost wanted to.
Eric again, he just jumped down to the bottom a little bit, kind of blocking off Charles Teed's line there. Everyone made it out there, but yeah, now it's hurt Charles Teed, and here comes Matt Wagner and Seth Groover.
Yeah, say Charles got pinned to the bottom there. Matt took momentum. He went to the bottom 3 and was able to get by Charles. And like I said, Seth able to get to the outside of Charles. So I'll say he dropped from about 6th spot now back into 10th just from that one little hiccup. As look at Yari, he's starting to peak all the way at the bottom. He's going to hold back though for now. But I was thinking for Eric Peterson, and say, again, this is something that from my experience that I've done, is I try to find that right fuel map balance where it's like, oh, I really want to run map 4, map 5, and then you do, and then you fall to back. It's like, crap, okay, I gotta go back up a fuel map and be a little richer than I was hoping to be. And then you kind of make that gain back, and then yeah, kind of that ebb and flow. It's like, okay, I'm really tucked up on these guys. Maybe I can get away with it this time. And then it does that. Again, I'm just speaking from my experiences. That's something that I definitely have seen myself do. But yeah, so right now, though, I mean, everybody's trying to find lanes here. As they look at Matt, though, cut underneath the 40. It's going to get a good run, but again, the draft is all on the top, and that's where we talk about that, just kind of the draft train, if you will. Very difficult to try to get through it. Do mention Brendan Briggs just hit pit road here in the number 63, and I'm thinking that might be a scheduled stop for him. I say he may have been running full rich on that run. So, but right now, I say these guys, again, I really like what Warren and Aaron are doing here. I think they've done a great job bumping the pace of this race up to basically prevent the strategy of these guys trying to maybe pull off a one-stopper. I think that they've set the pace too high now.
I think in accordance to that, I think Yari's gotten very impatient at this point, and he sat here long enough. Here he goes, right through turn 1 right there. He's been trying to make his way. He's put it 3 wide a couple times. Enough is enough. I've saved enough fuel. I think I want to sit up here and disrupt this party, and I want to be the swap drafter. So now Warren's put in a spot where he's got to find some clean air. Tires are getting worn. It's very difficult to find a way through. And I think Yari's put himself in a spot now where he's going to swap draft and he's going to lead some laps.
I was saying it also could have been where, yeah, like you said, tires starting to wear. Yari's thinking, man, I'm getting a lot of dirty air now. I want, like you said, I want to be that one of the swap draft cars. That way I know I have clean air at least once or twice per turn here. So, and actually, it's probably the whole way around because you just kind of run the top side, then cut down, pick up the draft, and go back after it. So, and yeah, like I said, and it may be one of the things where he's thinking, okay, I'm crunching the numbers. You know what? Screw it. I can't make this one stopper happen. Let's just turn the wick back up. Let's get back after it here. But as I say that, though, this time he sits back in line behind Aaron Hobart there. So this time didn't decide not to go for that swap draft, which we had seen the previous 2 times.
Yeah, I'm watching the battle behind with Matt and Eric. He's going to try and get by Eric Peterson here, who again held up the pack going out of turn 4 last time by. I'm looking at Gary Lover, and also he's kind of he's finding clean air, but he's not really doing anything with it. And I'm wondering if he's trying to consider a similar ride to Yari and bring Eric with him. If Eric can find some clean air on the bottom, I think he can get by these guys. But it looks like Gary's just kind of riding in Warren's coattails right now.
Yeah, I think he's just full fuel strategy. I don't know if he's fuel saving to the point of trying to one stop it, but I think he's fuel saving maybe to the point of just, I want to make sure I'm one of the last ones on pit road. Look at Matt Wagner though, rim rode that thing around Eric Peterson.
That was so close to touching that outside wall, but yeah, we're getting close to these pit stops now. I imagine these guys will be down pit row within the next 3 to 4 laps or so.
Yeah, so we just crossed the halfway point, starting lap number 51 here. And once again, Matt's finding that clean air, and he is making it work right now.
Eric did it again. It looks like he became very close to the outside wall in turn 2. I think Aaron Hobart's going to be pitting this lap.
All right, we'll focus on that 916 here. Yeah, I think he's coming. I think I saw also Warren Rogers tuck down low. And great job by them to stay out of the racing line. Now he's got to get slowed down in time. Looked like he should be okay. Both guys should be good for that entry. I liked what I saw there. So yeah, this will be the telltale now here, Andrew, is how much further can some of these guys go compared to what we saw Aaron and Warren do there. And I can tell you, yeah, clean stops for them, 8.6, 8.7 seconds for their time on pit. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry, they're hitting pit lane now, or their pit stalls now, I should say. So we'll see, but I think it's going to be the same margin though, probably about the 8-second window. Yeah, 8.8, 9.1.
If you're trying to measure the time on pit lane, here come Yari and Matt down the front straightaway. As I mentioned before, the car's just coming out of pit lane right now, and Matt had a commanding pass on Yari on the last lap. So we'll see. At this point, it's a measure of who swap drafts a little bit better. I think Aaron and Warren were the better swap drafters now, because Yari's been a little bit inconsistent with trying to get his line, but it looks like he's coming down low to take a pit stop right now.
Yep, here he comes, Yari, and Seth Groover right up against the wall. Yari's going to tuck it on in the pit road. And say what I was going to mention though, as well as now Aaron, he's going to want this thing to cycle through. But what he's done though is something I talked about pre-race was with Nick DeGroot pitting early, but then staying with the lead draft, and that's exactly what Aaron's done here. He is actually caught to the main pack here. He's right behind Casey Putsky, and I think I see Gary Laverne. He looks like he's dropping low to kind of signal that he's about to hit pit road.
I wonder if Warren had not as great a pit stop as Aaron, because he is way behind right now. He's not even close to the draft.
Yeah, it was about a 1.6 seconds slower total pit stop time, or pit lane time, I should say. It was a 38.95.
Eric's in the wall.
Oh no, let's find Eric here. Oh yeah, he is. He's still pointing straight though, so we'll stay green for the moment. But caution is out during the pit stop cycles. That's a tough one. And so he's able to get going again. But let's go back. Let's take a look here. All right, let's focus on Eric Peterson here. He's got Seth Groover right behind him. And, I mean, right... Oh, no. Contact between he and the O2 there. Just the O2 just a little bit too close getting together. And, yeah, unfortunately for Eric Peterson, just nothing he can do at that point. He's just along for the ride. And then, yeah, he gets hooked up into the outside wall. And then just at this point now, he's just got to wait for it to come unglued. But you can see, I mean, that right front's broken. And I say there's not much steering that can be done to that car. And oof, yeah, so you saw Jim Brooks just getting around as well as he was trying to, I think Eric was just trying to find somewhere safe to go. So, yeah, unfortunately, he's going to try to limp this thing back around. As we'll jump back live here and say, you can see that right front tire just dangling there. So, yeah, so it's a tough break for the short pitters here, Andrew, because like we mentioned, I mean, Aaron Hobart, he will get the wave around. I believe I think he was the first car one lap down at the time of the yellow. I think he's actually already been waved by, I'm on Gary Laverne, sorry. Yeah, here he goes. So he's going to go get the wave around. All these other guys are going to stay out and get the wave around on the one to go. So I think we should pretty much get the whole field back on the lead lap after this is all said and done.
So I went back and I did a little bit more investigation on that wreck there. I was giving Eric a lot of grief for a lot of his situations where he was kind of yo-yoing through the field, but I was watching down the front straightaway there. He only reached, oh man, I got to change myself to miles per hour here. It looks like he only got himself up to about 208 miles an hour when everyone else is getting to around 210, 211. So I'm wondering if he was carrying some sort of damage on this situation,
yeah.
which may have but caught the guys that were following him behind by surprise. And unfortunately, if you carry a little too much speed and you're not expecting the car ahead to not have the similar speed to you, that can cause that situation. So Eric might have been battling a little more damage than we really thought. And unfortunately, it just resulted in someone being a little impatient and having contact.
Yeah, saying also just may have been, like you said too, just not realizing the closing rate. I can tell you that the O2 cars is more on the super speedway side of things with the super speedway Xfinity cars and trucks. So definitely Seth the regular there. So the Indy car still definitely a learning curve to him. So maybe a little bit of an inexperience there as well. But interesting though for me, again you're going to see all these drivers I believe stay out to get the wave around here. However, I think a couple are going to get trapped here, Andrew, because our leader right now is Gary Laverne, and if you look where he is, he's ahead of a couple guys, like it looks like Brandon Briggs, Jeff Heisong, Jim Brooks, so they're going to get trapped actually here behind our leader. And we're waiting now for, these guys have not waved by, there he goes. The 48, like I said, the 48, the 49 should both be able to get back around there. But yeah, I think the other guys, like I said, Brandon Briggs, Jeff Heisong, Jim Brooks, I think all those guys, unfortunately, they're kind of trapped here. So they're going to have to kind of line up where iRacing tells them to. And yes, unfortunately, these three are going to be trying to battle for that lucky dog spot here. Just, again, Gary, I think his in and out on pit road just worked out perfectly where he was able to cycle to the lead here, pitting at lap 54. I think just right, probably getting out of pit road right at the right time for the caution.
I think Gary didn't pit, so that kind of trapped a couple of these guys from getting the wave around.
Yeah, so he did pit on lap 54. Like I said, I think it was probably the lap before the yellow, and so I think he just got out just at the right time, the way everything was cycling through. So it was one of those things for Gary. At that point, it's like, well, why would I come back into pit? Because I've got the fuel and the tires that everybody else has. So, I mean, it's the right call for him. I say Brandon, Jeff, and Jim, they may not be the happiest about it, but I say it was definitely the right call for Gary. So right now, he's definitely our leader. Craig Forsyth, he's the fourth car in line. He is in second place, then Jim Herrick there, and then Jim Brooks is a lap down, followed by Matt Wagner. And he had a great launch there. He caught these guys napping, and he's going to have a huge gap here as they build up to speed. Oh, we got trouble in the back, though. Something happened on that restart, and I think, a number of cars. The O2 is involved, the 48 involved. So I think it was that accordion potentially on that restart. So let's go back here as I see a couple trucks or a couple cars off track. What I was trying to say there. Let's go take a look here. I think this is still building.
I see
up
the
to
accordion, yeah.
See, I was on the wrong lap here. I'm still on the wrong lap here. Let's go to the green flag. All right, so we'll focus initially on the O2. Let's see, in front of him is Bill Colley, so we'll jump back full speed. Oh, yeah, so you see Bill picking up speed there. You see the O2. I think he was, oh, actually, no, look ahead of there. Which car is that Casey Putsky? Does he have a little bit of, let's say he looked like he's slowed down a little bit. And, oh, yeah, so you can see, I think everybody started checking up and.
Yeah, they were started by Pahutsky. Pahutsky up ahead was a little bit slower, and then it's just accordion back to Bill.
Oh my goodness! And yeah, look at these guys down. You see the 48 there. He drove. So I think Aaron Hobart too. I think he may have got a slight piece of it as well. So, he definitely got more than a slight piece of it. Oh, Yari got caught up in that as well. So a number of cars involved in this one. The 48, the 02, the 916, and the 31 all involved in this one. So yeah, unfortunately, a quick yellow on this restart again. I mean, we talked about these accordion wrecks. They're unfortunately something that does happen from time to time. The caution though, right there, big break for Brandon Briggs. He's going to now cycle back to the lead lap here. The 18 will still stay trapped a lap down. Jeff Heisung, Jim Brooks still trapped a lap down as well. So yeah, so unfortunately a tough restart there. Looks like not a lot of strategy here on the fuel side of things. So once again, we'll step away here for a moment. So stay tuned.
.40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. .40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, lights are off of the pace car, and man, it's a whole different ball game now. We've got only 10 cars on the lead lap after that incident, and we've got Jeff Heisung, Jim Brooks, Bill Colley, Yari Brupacher all trapped a lap down. The 40 to Warren Rogers showing 2 laps down, and unfortunately, Aaron Hobart, Seth Groover are still sitting on pit road. Might be night over for those two guys. But something, Andrew, you and I were talking off air there during that commercial. A little surprised nobody towards the back half of the lead pack here maybe topped off for fuel and just kind of say, hey, let me try to make it to the end from here. I mean, we talked about Yari's talking about people trying to do it earlier for a one stopper. Why not try to do it now with, we're going to restart this thing with 38 to go. I mean, we were talking about low to mid 30s. I mean, I feel like that would have made sense to do here. The only person that did pit was Brandon Briggs, who was the wave round car in the 63. So yeah, a little thrown off by that. I mean, if I'm an Eric Peterson or somebody like that, Elmer Joseph, I think I would have taken that splash and maybe changed my game plan here and just tried to do something different.
I'm wondering who at this point might actually be not damaged. So I can't even tell who is doing a clean car and a full fuel race strategy. So
yeah, we'll see.
Green now. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, so it looks like a pretty clean start here through the field there. So that's always job number one. So once again, though, our top two is the 32, their leader. Craig Forsyth's the third car in line behind. Oh, I'm showing caution back out once again here. I don't see any cars having troubles here, so this may have been an admin yellow. I'm not sure. But yeah, we're backing it back down here. So I say green flag, then yellow flag just a couple seconds later. And again, I'm looking around. I don't see anything apparent. But now, though, Andrew, someone's got to take the fuel strategy, I feel like, at this point. But again, beneficiary of this, I think, will be Jeff Hysong, though, as he was the first car one down. So he should get back onto the lead lap after this one. But yeah, just as I don't, feels like it's one of those like full moon night type races here this evening.
I'm sorry. I'm also looking around the track and trying to see if there's any car that was like stopped or paused or something like that. I'm finding nothing right now, so I don't really know what that was about either. But you're right. That now we're prime fuel strategy. So if I were anybody in the top 7, 8, top 7 or 8, let's go and make a pit stop. We were talking about Craig Forsyth and how he was 2 laps down. He's sitting in a nice spot, and he's a prime fuel saver. So I would imagine he would be one to come down pit lane right now.
I'm curious if he will, or is he going to want to have that track position?
Here he comes.
Yep, here he comes, and he's going to bring the field with him there. Gary Laverne, Matt Wagner are the two that are going to stay out. And like I mentioned, Jeff Hysong, he did get the wave around. Here he comes. He's going to jump back onto pit road. So... and it looks like they're waving Jim Brooks on by. So, yeah, there must have been a pit scoring issue or something like that. And so I think maybe that was the admin yell. It's like, you know what? Let's just get everything fixed correctly, get everybody back where they were supposed to be. I think it's maybe what we're seeing there. So that's going to now leave Bill Colley, as I think he and Yari Brupacher are 1 down. Mentioned Warren Rogers 2 down. So, but yeah, you're right, though. I mean, Craig Forsyth, though, he's going to bring the field onto pit road. Although, Craig had a very slow stop there, Andrew. He had 12.6 seconds. Did he have maybe some wing damage or something in that 99 car? Because that's not a normal Craig Forsyth type of a pit stop there. What it does do, though, is it promotes Charles Teed to be the first one out of the pit road with that extra fuel on board.
But it's under caution, so he lost a couple seconds, but he could pick that right back up again.
Yeah, no, he definitely should be fine. Kind of interesting, and not sure if again maybe it was just a mistake or something like that. But again, we know he's had some sort of a hiccup early on. So that said, though, actually we're already back 1 to green. I think the admins go ahead and advance this yellow a little quicker. Although now, again, I think we're having more hiccups here because everybody's trying to figure out where they're supposed to be positioning. And I think we might get another quick green-yellow.
I'm not... I think someone dove to the pits. Was that what happened?
I saw Jim Herrick way down to the bottom, I think, trying to get in the right position. So, unfortunately, Jim trying to do the right thing here. He's going to fall off the pack right now. And Gary Laverne, I mean... Gary's just, when it's time to go, he's got to go. So right now he's running away with this thing. He's got a 1.7 second lead and growing. So again, we'll keep an eye and see if anything changes. But again, we don't know what's going on in the back end on the admin side of things. But right now, he's got a 2-second gap over Matt Wagner. Then you got Charles Teed there, Brad Adams now. Haven't talked a lot about Brad. Here he comes. He's up to 3rd here, trying to go for 2nd as well. And again, talk about the fuel mileage. Probably a little bit of saving needing to be done here, but these guys like Charles Teed and Pahutsky and company, Brad Adams, they probably can save for a little bit, and then they're probably ready to turn that wick up. But yeah, right now though, if you're Gary Laverne, I don't think you can make it to the end on fuel as it runs right now. But man,
well, he's running and hiding. That's his strategy right now.
And I'm saying, that's all I would be doing too. It's like, yeah,
especially if you know no one wants to pass you.
It's like, I'd love to save fuel, but at the same time, I like having all this clean air around me and not having to just stress over all these cars, like that giant pack behind me. So
I actually love this strategy because he knows that everyone has to save fuel. Let's say it goes green all the way, it's a super fuel save. So he knows that he was the lead car in the restart, so everyone's going to want to sit behind him and save all the fuel. So why is he going to let everybody do that? He's going to say, nope, I'm taking my ball and I'm running, and let's see how far he can run, because now we see that the fuel save is kind of ending here because second and third place are swap drafting, trying to catch him.
yeah,
So
and they've definitely got to that
whole dynamic.
window. Yeah, it's about 1.2 seconds now, so they should start sniffing the draft off of him. But yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of fuel save going on right around here. Charles Teed, Craig Forsyth, because it's like you said, they're just so packed up on each other. And so I think what's going to happen is you're going to see these guys save until they get that green light saying, okay, now you've got enough to go map one to the end. And then you'll see who's the one that's ready to jump after it first. But right now, though, like I said, I mean, Gary Laverne, he's still got a little margin. It's about just under a second now. I can't tell you Jim Herrick's back on pit road. Again, I think he had lost the draft with all that had gone on. And I think that may have been him saying, you know what, not worth it for me. I'm going to go ahead and park it here tonight. So we'll see. But yeah, just, again, kind of a little odd here tonight, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, you'll have those races from time to time. But right now, like I said, though, I mean, that swap draft's kind of gone away now. Brad Adams is trying to just kind of set the pace himself behind Gary Laverne. And so, again, he is right now the first of those guys that pitted on 64. Gary at 54, Matt at 56. We don't really think either of them can make it to the scheduled distance, or I should say to the distance. But yeah, I'm going to be watching a couple of these guys like Teed and Forsyth. That said, though, they've kind of like you talked about earlier with Peterson, Teed kind of fell off the back of those guys for a little bit too, and I think he's had to turn the wick back up to make sure he doesn't drop too far.
I think that this pack is falling into a nice line right now. They're kind of catching a little bit, but they're also just maintaining. They've caught Gary Laverne, obviously, but now they're kind of catching each other, and they're kind of falling into the fuel save. But I think it's too late. I think you need to really fuel save right off the bat in order to make the amount of laps you need. But who can tell really at this point? If everybody packs up and everybody sits in a nice line and makes the methodic moves, it's quite possible that they can save the right amount of fuel to make it to the end of this race.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And so also the Lucky Dog battle right now, Yari has it in that number 49 car. You see him right there. He's got, I believe that's Aaron Hobart right behind him. Oh, man, that was close there. But what I'm watching is this guy here, Warren Rogers in the 48. Right now, he is 2 down. If he can get around these leaders here and then catch a caution, he can gain one of his laps back. 'Cause, I mean, at this point, that's his best chance to try to get back in this race. So I think we're seeing that aggression out of the 48 saying, you know what, I want to get my lap back here. I want to see if I can get back in this race if we get another yellow. So I say it's not going to just be Gary and Brad here swap drafting. I think at some point you're going to see that 48 try to put his nose in that mix, kind of like we saw Yari do earlier in the run between when the 48 and the 916 were doing the swap draft. I think we'll see the 48 try to find a way to sneak in there as well and put his hat in the ring.
See a lot of movement here right in the middle part of the top 10. I think some of these guys know that it's go time, and if I'm going to make anything happen, it's going to happen now as Seth Groover and Charles T get very close to each other, exiting turn 2.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. I think that 916, I think he's also doing the same. He wants to try to get back to the front here, have a chance at this. So I say again, we saw those two leading a lot early, and so I think they're saying, all right, let's see if we can find a way back there. And yeah, and then right now it's just if these guys are fuel saving, all right, we'll take the gamble. Let's push here, even if we don't make it to the end on fuel. If we get the yellow, then that'll get us one of those laps back if we can get in front of those leaders. So I think that's why you're seeing this aggression from Aaron as well as Warren, which I say right now it looks like Aaron will just about clear Matt, but right now Warren's still been kind of trapped, unfortunately, behind the Gary Laverne Brad Adams battle.
I think Gary Laverne's done a great job trying to maintain this lead. He tried to run away with it, didn't work obviously when the swap draft started to happen, especially with these two of the top 3 right now are guys that don't typically run up front, and they want to get themselves as much camera time as possible. So Gary did a great job to try to run away with it. It was a nice strategy, especially since everybody else seemed to want to just save fuel right off the bat as he ran away. But I think everybody started to learn his game and they chased him down. But he has not gone away without swinging here. So I think everybody's going to have to stop at least for a splash here, unless we have another caution at the end.
Yeah, and that's what I'm gonna be intrigued about, is to see who can maybe try to pull it off. It seems like kind of the pack you talk about where everybody's going fuel save is kind of kicking off in my mind, is right here with the 3 of Casey Putski. He seems like he's the first of those on that pitted on 64 that's just kind of been on cruise control, not really pushing too hard. I mean, you can see Craig's not pressuring him. Charles Teed's not pressuring him. To me, that's kind of the telltale on that. When you see Matt Wagner as well, he's kind of rolled way off these guys. The problem, again, though, for Matt is he pitted 8 laps earlier than these guys, so they've got a significant more amount of fuel than he does, so he's got a lot more work to try to do. However, with all this fuel save going on, again, they're starting to stretch it back out once more here. So you see Gary and Brad here, they've kind of doing the swap drop. They've separated themselves a little bit from Aaron Hobart, Warren Rogers, but in the same side, on the same side of things, they've been able to break themselves away a fair bit from Matt Wagner. So it's just, it's what is the strategy right now? If you're Brad, I think same thing. He's probably just going as fast as he can. Like you said, probably just going to throw a splash of fuel in once he has to. Whereas all these other guys are just going to try to just basically sip as little fuel as possible to try to make it to the end here.
Well, these guys are way too spread out to be saving any kind of fuel right now, especially if in the top 7 on track. They're not necessarily top 7 in the field, but you can't really save this much fuel right now with being this spread out. So the only guys that are really saving fuel are the Craig Forsyth, Jeff Hysong, and Yari's lap down as well, and Eric Peterson down there in P8. So they're saving a decent amount of fuel just sitting in line like this. But the guys out front are swap drafting, and they're really just going for it right now. And I think Gary really, in particular, has committed to it early on just by running out like that.
Yeah, again, I mean, he pitted at 54. Like I said, he cycled to the front after that caution. And then when that yellow came out where we were speculating would anybody top off or not, it was basically he and Matt Wagner went ahead and stayed out. Everybody else pitted. But now again, though, I mean, Matt Wagner, I mean, he's pretty much out of the draft now with these guys. So what's going to happen now is Casey and Charles and Craig, they're just going to all use Matt as the kind of just as that drafting stick, as he's kind of the sacrificial lamb, if you will. So
he's given up. He's just going to go on a fuel save now and see what happens for the last 6 or 7 laps. But you're right, Gary Lovern is the car that's out there the longest on fuel right now. So he's going to be kind of the linchpin to start the next round of pit stops. Granted, it'll be probably 8 or 9 laps until anybody pits after him, but I think if Gary stays out until lap 86, 87 or so, this could get very interesting from a fuel save perspective.
Yeah, I saw the 51 of Jim Brooks hit pit road. I'm thinking for him, he said, you know what, I'm not going to just sit and ride, or maybe he had some contact or something, not 100% sure. But it looks like he's went ahead and hit pit road in the 51 machine, and that car's still lengthy on pit road. So I think he may have missed his pit stall, because now it's finally starting to service that car. So I'll keep an eye and see pit stop time. Yeah, about 8 seconds. So to me, that's a 4-tire and fuel stop. But oh man, up front though, I mean, these guys here, the 48 and the 916, they were squeezing on each other. But yeah, right now, like I said, pace-wise, these guys are, I mean, they're gone. There's the second pack's not catching them, but that's not their goal now. These guys, like I said, Matt was their sacrificial lamb. Matt said, nope, I'm coming in. I'm not going to be that guy for you anymore. Looked a little hot on entry there. We'll see if he's able to get in cleaner, if that's going to be a hold. But so basically some short pitters include Jim Brooks, Matt Wagner. Again, unfortunately for Jim, I think he had a pit road miscue, so he's lost a ton of time with that. Matt Wagner possibly too fast on entry. We'll have to wait and see for his pit stop time. And then you have this pack, the group that nobody wants to be leading. And so,
well, I think, I'm going to piggyback on what you say there, that the fact that Matt came in is telling. Matt decided to come in because he's like, nope, not going to make it. No matter what I do, it's not going to happen. So I think that it's going to be pretty much the same for everyone else here. Gary and Brad have already committed to it. They've got themselves quite a bit of distance there. So I think even if they have to splash, they got plenty of space there from the rest of the guys that are behind.
Yeah, I mean their hope right now is that those other guys can't make it. But like I said, I think what's going to happen.
They're going so slow right now. It's really kind of amazing how slow that this pack is going, especially Casey being up front. Casey's just parking the bus right now.
Yeah, I mean that's what Casey has to do at this point, because again he doesn't want to burn all that extra fuel. And I can tell you, unfortunately, Matt Wagner was too hot on entry. 48-second pit stop. That drops him all the way down to 15th now on track. So unfortunately, I say he is now also 2 laps down with the likes of Aaron Hobart and Warren Rogers. Again, he should get those spots back when they inevitably have to pit as well. But yeah, no, I mean, if you're Gary Laverne, Brad Adams, I mean, your hope here is you go as fast as you can, you build that gap up to them, and just hope that they can't make it to the end on fuel, or maybe you get a timely enough yellow. Seconds. Yeah, I mean you're right. I mean it's 5 seconds right now on these guys. Like I say, as they're entering 3, they're barely out of turn 2. But yeah, I think what's going to happen is it's going to be a couple guys out of this pack will be able to make it, like a Craig Forsyth or Charles Teed, because again, I think they're using Casey as that kind of that lamb, if you will. As here comes Gary Laverne, he is on pit road for his final scheduled stop. Again, probably it'll be just a splash. That's going to leave Brad Adams now on out. And this is the opportunity in my mind for Aaron Hobart, Warren Rogers. Let's get around this guy. Let's get one of those 2 laps back, and then see if maybe by chance, if we get a timely or untimely yellow, we can get back into the mix here. So it's about a 5.8 second stop for Gary. And to say he's actually rolling out of pit road now, and he may actually stay on the lead lap here. We'll watch him build up speed.
Yeah, he obviously didn't take tires there.
No, fuel only differently. And yeah, I think he is going to get lapped here, but if he can stay within that draft window, he could pull right back on these guys and then have a chance to get after it. So
I don't think he's going to lap. Brad's going to lap him, but Brad's got a pit, so Gary is going to be at the back of the lead lap right now.
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking maybe if he could tag on the back of them. So, but yeah, so again, Brad pitted at 54, so there was about a 10-lap window between the two of them. So again, with Gary pitting there at lap, what was that, 88, I would say probably lap 93, 94 would roughly be, I think, when we expect to see Brad Adams on pit road.
And again, if we see no caution now, or sorry, if a caution comes out after Brad pits, Gary's on the back of the lead lap, because the next car in line would be Casey, who continues to ride very slowly behind. So they're not even getting close to coming up to lap Gary. So Gary can run full rich now, pull away from these guys, and basically be back at the back of the lead lap once Brad pits.
Yeah, and I'm watching right now, Gary. I mean, he's trying to tag onto the back of these guys. I think he has their draft as well. I'm watching lap time wise. Yeah, he ran a 32.88. The leader was a 33.40, so he was 0.6 quicker. And I say he is in the tow here. And also you see there Aaron Hobart. He has gotten around Brad Adams for getting one of his 2 laps back. So yeah, so I was saying, you see right there, I was gonna say if I'm losing names there. Sorry, if I'm Gary, I'm gonna hustle on this thing. I want to try to get around the 48. I want to try to get around the 76, just in case. That way I'm back on the lead lap, but you don't even have to worry about the potential of a wave around. You just want to get back on there on merit.
I'm trying to read what Brad Adams might be doing in this situation now when he's thinking of pitting, perhaps. This pack behind Casey is getting larger and larger and larger, though. You can see that they're kind of 2 and 3 wide coming through turn 2. So
and they're trying to break the draft.
Everybody's committing to it. But what this tells me is that these guys also can't make it on fuel, because you usually want to ride it until you know you're confident you can make it, and then be the first person to pounce.
Yep.
And the fact that all these guys are just sitting in lines, they're trying to hit some number that could be impossible for later on. So it was almost 5 seconds before. It's 6.5 back from Brad Adams to Casey now. So Brad and Gary made the right decision to punch it, and these guys all may be kind of sputtering. So
yeah,
5 or 6 laps.
Yeah, saying Gary's got his lap back. Need to mention that as well. So yeah, so right now Brad Adams still is our leader. And again,
we got
like
some movement back here. Casey's being passed, so I think people might be moving. Matt's the first person to pounce.
Well, I'll say Matt's the one that pitted, so now everybody wants to. Basically, Casey said, "All right, I'm not leading this anymore." Matt decided he wanted to jump up front, but again, this is. I mean, if you're Matt here, again, Craig's your championship rival. If I'm Matt, I'm going as rich as I can and just trying to run these guys out of fuel too. Yes, they're drafting off you, but you just push the wick as hard as you can. But I don't know, Craig is starting to get real tight on Matt, almost like he's starting to feel pretty comfortable about that fuel number. So oh, here comes Brad. He's coming in along with the 48 and the 918.
We got looks like someone back here is pitting too. Casey's pitting.
Casey's in. Yeah,
I think this is the beginning. This is the beginning of what could be the next 2 or 3 laps. We could see the rest of these guys all coming in for a splash. It's gonna be very, very nail biting.
Yeah, these guys all came in with 5 to go. So that's can they have saved 5 laps over the course of this fuel run? Again, I'm watching Craig. He's starting to really latch on the back of Matt Wagner. He's kind of separated himself a little bit from these guys. So we got really tight battle there. Yeah, it was close between Teed Peterson and Jari Brupacher. They're all locked onto each other as well. And so also trying to keep an eye out for Gary. Gary did get out, it looks like, ahead of Brad by about a second at this point, as Yari's getting racy right now too. Man, this is going to be intriguing to see. As you see, we're catching Casey right there. And right now, Casey is on the tail end of the lead lap still as they run. So same thing for Casey. Honestly, if I'm Casey here with Matt, you want to do the leapfrog. You want to try to do that swap draft, keep that pace up.
Yeah, if we go caution now, the race is over. So
correct.
Casey's race is over effectively at this point.
Yeah, he wants this thing to stay clean to the end in case other guys have to pit. That way he has a better chance at it. So, but yeah, no, if I'm Casey, I'm trying to get back up to Matt. I'm trying to swap draft to, again, make Craig burn more fuel, make Eric and Charles and Jeff burn more fuel too. So, yeah, very intriguing. I say it's really hard to say right now. Craig is still our leader, as we're going to get 2 to go here at the line. He's got about a half a second on Peterson. Charles T is just a couple tenths back there as well. Jeff Heisong right on him. And also, I feel like I feel bad at Elmer Joseph. He's sitting in the top 5. He is right on these guys as well. So if any of them sputter, he could capitalize on a podium spot here.
Brandon Briggs is dropping back. I think he realized he can't make it, so he's coming back to the field right now. He also might be, I think he was fresh out of the pits, perhaps, actually. So maybe he's just kind of letting everyone race. Oh, there's a caution.
Oh, caution out, and Elmer Joseph. And I think, Jeff Heisong as well. Was this maybe a pit stop gone wrong for these guys? They're going to grab a gear and go, or they may be fighting for a position, but that's gonna do it though. Now it's, as long as these guys have fuel to make it to the end here, they got to wait for the pace car. But if they can sputter around here to the end, this will be our top 3. Would be Craig Forsyth winning over Eric Peterson and Charles Teed. But let's go back. Let's take a look here, because it was, man, actually, I'm looking at the timing. Oh, actually, there it is. Oh, it looks like we were talking about Brandon Briggs. I think he got tight there, and it looks like he just drifts up, unfortunately, into the 18 car. Yeah, that's actually what the contact was. It was those two, and then Elmer Joseph trying to avoid the 2 of them. Unfortunately, he gets a little bit involved as well. So, yeah, just unfortunately, I think just caught out in the dirty air there, and that's what brought out that yellow for these guys here. So, and I almost wonder if Elmer looked like he was actually maybe going to pit prior to that caution coming out. But we'll jump back live, because at the line, it will be Craig Forsyth. Does he have? Let's listen in. He's still got some revs in there, so he's rolling on by now. So no guarantee how much fuel he had, but he had enough at least for that. Eric Peterson's gonna bring it home in second, and Charles Teed gonna be in third tonight. So what a recovery drive! I mean, it took unfortunately, a lot of cautions and a lot of bad luck for some of his competitors, but I mean, again, Craig sticks it out and then able to get those laps back, and then just makes the right calls and the right strategies to be there at the end to try to grab the win.
Yeah, that is quite a drive back. I think we have a lot of situations where you kind of get disconnected, or you have some sort of computer issue, and then you wind up just kind of saying, I'll call it a night. But Craig came back. He said, okay, maybe I get a lucky dog or 2, which doesn't typically happen in races these days. We have had quite a few clean races this season, but he came back to it. raced very smartly and decided to go for a fuel save there at the end. I don't know if he would have made it to the end. I'm not convinced that there was enough fuel in these cars.
And he had enough for about a burnout and a half, and then that was all she wrote. So that would have been very tight on fuel. We'll ask him when we have a chance to chat with him here. He's gonna limp this thing or coast this thing to the victory lane there. So yeah, wild one tonight, I think, is basically the best way we can put that one here. So let's go back. We got to chat with our top 3. Actually, before we get to the interviews, let's go ahead and pull up our final results. There they are. Craig Forsyth getting the win over Eric Peterson and Charles Teed there. Jeff Heisong said, unfortunately, caught up in that incident, but still does wind up bringing it home in 4th. Gary Laverne, he was the one that decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and go for the pit strategy. And, I mean, it worked, but it still got a top 5 out of it. I don't think he can be too disappointed with that one. A really good run for him. I think, unfortunately, Elmer Joseph, I think he was going to run out of fuel because I think that's how Gary got around him. So that puts him to 6th. Brad Adams, Casey Bahutsky, Yari Brupacher recovering all the way up to 9th. Brandon Briggs there, the top 10. And then, again, just tough night for a lot of drivers there with incidents, mistakes on pit road. That drops Jim Brooks there at 11th, Matt Wagner, Bill Cawley. Great opening races for Aaron and Warren. Just unfortunately, didn't pan out for them with the way some of the stuff fell there towards the end. Then Jim Herrick, early retirement we saw, along with the 17th place of Seth Gruber there. All right, now let's go find some drivers. We're going to start with a Mr. Charles Teed here. See if we can hunt him on down. There he is. So we're going to pull in a Mr. Teed. And Charles, I think eventful might be the description of tonight. There was a lot happening, and we were talking. It's like, I don't know if it's a full moon tonight or what was going on, but there was a lot happening tonight. A little rough, but also just even on the championship side of things. I mean, you, Craig, Matt, all of you guys had stuff that you had to try to recover from. I mean, take us through it. I mean, there's a lot that you guys had to bounce back from. I would say. I mean, you had your spin. We saw the little bit of wall contact. Was that enough to warrant the fast repair, or were you able to limp that thing along?
No, so I think all the problems for me started when there was a checkup with Wagner, and I was adjusting my ARB. So I looked down for a split second, and the traffic, like it felt like Matt hit the brakes on the back straightaway, and then I had to stand on the nose. And it said I didn't have damage, but then the very next time I went into one with aggression, I was right on the line, but I've been on the line multiple times, and it just came around. So I don't know if there was some damage. So that was a dopey move by me. And yes, that would definitely use my fast repair. And then people were racing really hard in that middle segment, so it was hard to pass. So I had to go down and burn my tires down trying to run the bottom because everyone wanted to just run the top. You got to go where they're not. So that wasn't a good segment of the race. Then ducked into the pits, and where I think I made a mistake is I should have probably done one more splash. And Craig is an absolute master at saving fuel. I'm disgusted that we let him get his 2 laps back so quickly. I was telling everyone, hurry up, keep him another lap behind. And I should have maybe not pitted at one point because I could have kept him that 2 laps down initially. But there were so many cautions, and he's so freaking good. He's just a dirty, rotten rat to pull this off and go get a W. I had to let them get around me because I was just on the right side of a number for fuel at the end. And with 1 lap to go, I could go to map 1. And then right when I went to go flick, I literally had my hand to switch to map 1. The caution came out. I guess there was another wreck. So kind of an ugly race. Craig's significantly better driver than I am. So I'll take it. And hopefully I'm close enough now to Wagner to maybe get into 2nd place.
When you were trying to figure out your strategy, especially with all those multitude of cautions at the start of the race, was there a strategy you were going with? Were you saying like, okay, I'm going to wait for one more caution, or I'm going to say there's no more cautions and I'm going to try and save fuel from here? And were you constantly recalculating in your head?
You had to
every every time there was a caution, the amount of laps left in the race, and if you could do it, because there was definitely certain parts of the race, especially that incident you had with Matt, where it seemed like there was a little bit of fuel saving going on. Perhaps I'm not sure if that's what caused the incident, but at that part of the race, it seemed like the fuel save was out the window because it was right in the middle of a fuel tank. So, how did you measure exactly what strategy you wanted to take on each time you did the restarts?
So what I think it switched every time, and I can't remember. There's so many freaking cautions, but I definitely switched from time to time as I was fuel saving to all out, depending on where we're at. The cautions came at really weird times. Craig accidentally hit the caution button at one point there at the end that made it close to make it on fuel. I'll hold that as an asterisk next to him that he, being a master fuel saver, that he set it up perfect, so you can let him know I said that in the interview. But yeah, it was off and on, and so I don't normally like to fuel save. One, it's boring. Two, it's just not how I like to race. I want to like let her rip, and when the races fall that way, normally I do pretty well. But I was forced to because an additional fuel stop here would kill you. So I needed to get to the end, and I was thinking like somehow championship. Although with Craig lurking behind me, it's like Earnhardt, knowing how much fuel he's saving. It's just, you know, you're in big trouble. Such a good guy and such a dirty rat of a fuel saver he is.
So that's the thing is, he's such a nice guy, but it's like, damn you for being a nice guy. We want to hate you, Craig. Stop it.
You better give him a shout out.
Yes.
But yeah,
Just
no.
in.
Yeah, he did a great job.
We'll definitely give him grief about the caution there as well. Like I said, it was just one of those nights. It seems like tonight. So, but yeah, Andrew teed it up perfectly there. So we definitely other than Craig, we definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for that podium tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys both for doing the broadcast. I go back and watch them. Last week I was so frustrated that I threw that one away with a shitty pit stop at the end. I'm definitely not as good at pit stops as these guys are. So just went back and listened to it, and then I was up half the night just pissed off. Listening to you guys as your broadcast as you guys are all snoring. But really appreciate you guys. I want to thank Jim Herrick with his 4D racewear for the gear he gives away. The Dark Horse guys, we're down folks this summer, but Matt for putting this on. Matt's really struggling with some back problems right now. So Wagner, thanks for putting on the race for us, and hopefully I passed you in the points.
I can tell you it is close. I think you are within 8 points of him now.
Okay, cool.
So you're right there. Well, I'll say
thanks, gentlemen.
I'll say everybody's got a week off to regroup and go back strong for those final 4 races, though. So I'll say great job tonight, man, and look forward to seeing you the rest of the way.
Go ahead and give Peterson some grief too for screaming and hollering during the race.
All right, we'll
thanks,
definitely
gentlemen.
You got it.
All right, so with that, well, I mean, he said what we got to do, so let's go grab him here. We'll pull up that number 36 of Eric Peterson. And so, I mean, I guess I feel like that's where we got to start, right, Andrew? Is find out about the screaming and hollering that Charles Teed's referring to.
That's right.
Hey guys.
So what's the screaming and hollering that Charles is accusing you of?
Me? Oh, I got wrecked and don't know why. Just punted me and said I cut his nose off. I think that's what we're referring to.
I'll to shed a little more light. If you go back and watch this later, I gave you a lot of grief during that stint right there because it seemed like you were doing sort of a yo-yo effect where you were able to catch up to the pack, and then all of a sudden a certain line you took would have you drop back, and everybody just kind of piles up behind you. So I'm wondering almost after that incident happened that you might have been carrying a little bit of damage where you didn't get the top speed you wanted because cars ahead of you were getting a little more speed, it seemed like, than you, and it might have kind of thrown some of the drivers off behind you that may have thought you would have gotten faster into one. But go ahead and explain.
Well, I was in map 5 just trying to save fuel, and I knew that I got back there a little bit, so I dropped it down to map 1. I was just catching up and just biding my time, and I don't know. Is what it is.
Well, I think actually that's after the wreck happened and we were discussing it. That's exactly what Gael had said that might have been the case. You might have been playing, or there are situations where the drivers are kind of playing around with the fuel maps a little bit, and that might have caused a situation that a little bit of miscommunication. But go ahead, Gael.
Yeah, no, and that was so something I say. I mean, I'm obviously still learning these things as we go, but do you ever find it where you have to kind of balance to find that right fuel map balance where it's okay, I'm gonna map 5, go full save, and then you start to see that interval kind of go the wrong way to the car in front of you. It's like, okay, let me try map 4, map 3.
Yeah.
Like, does it take some time to kind of find the magic one, or is it just an always kind of an ever moving target because of you never know the pace of the guys around you?
Yeah, it's just the magic, like you said, the magic number, finding the right line, because you're trying to find clean air so you don't push where you have to let off the throttle in map 5 because you have no power to catch up. So you're trying to keep that distance. And I probably, messed up a line or messed up something or got some dirty air where I had to get out of it, running late in the run like that. We were coming, I think when I got wrecked, I was literally going to pit in like 3 laps. So I had almost 32, 33, 34 laps on those tires. So they were going. So but yeah, the gap, and then I'd close it back up. And, I was just trying to maintain, is all I was trying to do, is just maintain my position on track. But, I was just running that high line up in there, and, I didn't cut him off or anything. So I know he just ran right in the back of me. But,
Well, I mean, he still had a good
what it is.
recovery. And
Yep.
then I'll say, obviously, Teed's definitely not a fan of the fuel saving. What's your mindset on the fuel saving side of things for racing?
I mean, it's good if everybody just gets a line and minds their P's and Q's, I guess. But when you're racing that hard, you got guys that are on different strategies that are flying up through the field or want to get up front. That's fine. But the hard part is trying to just maintain that top. What is it, like top 5, top 6? If you can fuel save. You can do some really good fuel save in there. But once you drop back, and then of course, if you lose that gap, and then the hard part is starting in the back. If you start way back, it's almost guaranteed you're going to lose the lead pack. You're going to have 2 groups separate, and then you just got to burn so much fuel to get back up to the front. So, but it worked out well. I mean, even though it was frustrating to get, to have that happen, it still ended up being a good race. I still ended up finishing second, so can't complain. But
Yeah.
Definitely turned it around from previous races that you were kind of running up front, and unfortunate things have happened in the past. So nice run there, nice recovery.
yeah, it just seems like if there's a tornado on track, I seem to be the mobile home. It's the way all the leagues have gone, and for 8 years of Dark Horse and all the years of Area 51 and all the different leagues, and it just seems like if there's a wreck on track, I'm gonna find myself around it somehow. So it was nice to be able to recover, and come out of that, with a podium finish. So.
Well, I feel like I mean, I don't know for sure, but I feel like you've done really well at the flatter ovals. So say we're off next week, but 2 weeks time we're over at Gateway. Is that one that you feel like will be kind of up your wheelhouse?
Probably Gateway and I have a love-hate relationship. We don't get along very well. There are times where there's flashes in the pan where I can put a really good lap together, and then the next lap I just don't know, the car pushes or it gets loose, or it's just really weird because it is a track that you have to, turns 1 and 2 are where you got to brake going in, and if you brake a little bit too much or brake a little not enough, I mean, it's such a driver's track, which why all these guys are so good at it. And it's just one you have to practice at. And coming into these and kind of half-assing it in practice and stuff like that, I got to get better at that, and learn. It's not a matter of really learning the track so much, but just figuring out the setup and figuring out the right tools and playing around with all that, because that's definitely a tool track, where 1 and 2 can be different. Like basically you'll have 1 and 2 setting for the weight jacker in turns 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 could be a different setting. So you're constantly making changes on the straightaways, which is tough to be fast. I know there's a lot of guys that are really good at it here at Gateway. So.
Well, we'll find out in a couple weeks' time. So before we let you go, I mean, again, great job second and third, though, for the Dark Horse guys. So I definitely want to give the floor, though, for any thanks and shout out for that runner-up tonight.
Yeah, thanks to you guys. And I'll watch the broadcast and see how much grief you gave me there, Andrew. And we'll see if I like you for maybe an hour. It might be that, but we'll be good
Fair
there.
enough.
But thanks, Gael, and thanks, Andrew. So it's all good. Obviously, thanks to Dark Horse guys. It's fun being in the channel with Charlie and Jeff Heisong. It certainly helps with all the conversation we have going on. And then, of course, thanks to Matt running this league, getting the setups done and getting everything taken care of. And I know we had a yellow snafu there trying to get everything figured out. And I know Matt trying to drive and trying to admin. I've done it, and it's not easy to do. But we hope he's feeling better here soon. think he's got some back issues, so hopefully gets that straightened out. And then of course, thanks you guys again for the broadcast. It's gonna be fun to watch it again.
Great job tonight, Eric, and I say look forward to
Thank
seeing
you.
you the rest of the way, man.
All right, have a good one, guys. Thank you.
Yep, see ya.
All right, that leaves us one driver left to chat with, and that's going to be this fella here. Is a Mr. Craig Forsyth. I don't know, Andrew. I think we just put him 2 laps down to start these races just to see if he can do it again, because, I mean, obviously, well, we'll start with that. I mean, there was something going on, hardware or what, Craig? I mean, talk us through what happened to you at the beginning of that race. We saw you drop to the apron, and unfortunately wasn't quite apron enough, where then you caught the seam of the banking and the flat, and then unfortunately the wreck upside down, disconnect, come back. I mean, you had a lot going on right off the bat.
God, I'll say. No, I knew something was wrong during qualifying because I was getting weird artifacting on my monitors. And so as soon as I qualified, I disconnected and restarted iRacing, hoping that would fix it. And that fixed iRacing, but then my overlays had weird little artifacts on them. And I was like, well, I'll see what happens. And apparently 2 laps later, what happens is you get 1 frame per second, and then the computer crashes. So yeah, that is not a good way to start the race. But a full reboot fixed it. Had I had more time after qualifying or between qualifying and the race, that's what I should have done.
Yeah, certainly not. That's not the way anybody wants to start a race there. But yeah, 2 laps down. So what were you thinking when you came back to the session?
Never give up, never surrender. That was it. It's the nice thing with Area 51 is that we have the option for the
Lucky
my
dog.
brain has turned off. Thank you. The lucky dog rule. So it's just a matter of, admittedly, I only expected us to have 1 or 2 cautions in the race. So I didn't think we were gonna, get back onto the lead lap, and then it started turning into a whole bunch of cautions early in the race, which just put us right back on the lead lap. So at that point, it was trying to decide if we were going to fuel save right from there or not, and we went for the fuel save, but then we kept getting cautions. But the final round was that was the big fuel save.
Right. So that was my next question. Was it seemed like everyone was sitting behind Casey and Brad was taking off along with Gary there. So were you just kind of trying to measure your fuel and say, okay, I'm waiting for my full fuel burn now? And you could definitely see that cars were starting to pass him when they felt like they were comfortable enough to make it with the full fuel save or full fuel burn towards the end there. So did you know that Matt was going to help you out there, or did you just kind of know, okay, I can full fuel burn from here, it's time to get by Casey and then lead this pack and then hold off everybody else and see if you were the first car to make it towards the end there?
It turned out to just be perfect timing, because when Matt passed me was when I was also good to go map 1, because I'd been hard fuel saving that whole time to maximize that how long the number of laps I could go in map 1. So at that point, I knew that if I stuck with Matt, 2 cars was going to be even faster. So as long as I kept up with them, and then I can't remember who else came through. I think it was Casey came through as well, which I'm more than happy to let it. 3 cars in map 1 is going to be even more even faster. So it just got better and better. So I know Eric was ready to mount the charge there, but I think we were good at that point. We had the half second going towards the last lap. I was feeling pretty comfortable before the caution came out.
So you knew that you wouldn't run out of fuel at the end of the race. You were good to go.
No, yeah, we were good to go in map 1. As I said, whatever lap it was, I think it was 9 laps or 10 laps to go when Matt passed us. I was already getting ready to transition to map 1 anyway.
Yeah, so I'll say so. Do you wanna throw the accusation by a certain podium finisher, or you want me to do that one, Andrew?
Go for it.
So there was a caution right on a restart, and sounds like it was a misclick, but. So there's accusations flying that may have benefited a certain expert fuel saver that who will not be mentioned.
I may have been trying to clear black flags when I hit the caution button. Yeah, that may have actually happened. Is that actually the caution that that did it? Was that the last caution?
That was lap 64, yeah.
Oh
Lap
God!
64
So
bucket.
it was me. Oh Lord!
So yeah, so
It
that
was not intentional.
Well, here's the thing. To throw things back on your side again, if you were able to make it on the full fuel save and then run those 9 or 10 laps there, I think even if you had just sat back another lap or two, I think that would have probably saved you enough to make it to the end without having to actually save enough to be going when you went. You could have saved it for another couple laps and then gone after that. So I think that even though those accusations are flying, I think you still had the right amount of laps left in the race that you could have saved a couple more if you needed to.
Yeah, under the previous caution, Jim and I had been working the numbers, trying to figure out what we were going to need to run fuel saving to make it on from that caution. But yeah, going in and topping back up again just made it a little bit easier.
and yeah,
I think the number was going to be really hard on the previous caution, but it was gonna be makeable based on the fuel numbers we were running between laps like 80 and 95.
and I'll say I'm pretty sure those are mostly in jest, though. By the way, Craig, we just it's something to give you grief about. Sorry, Andrew.
I feel sad
You
for Eric.
stole from me.
We want Eric to get himself the win, but not at my expense.
But no, yeah, it was, like I said, it was an eventful one tonight. Obviously, there was a lot going on throughout the field, but yeah, I mean, like I said,
there was weird stuff. We were having lapped cars lapped cars not getting the wave around, and then being told to have lead cars go past them, and there was a lot of confusion going on during the cautions. That iRacing was doing something weird. I don't know. We need to go through it because it was very weird.
Yeah, no, and that's the cautions during pit stops. That's I think always been the hardest part for iRacing to get that right. But I also do need to kind of big shout out to for those that maybe didn't catch it, the Galaxy Quest, the quote there. So big props to you for that one. Great movie.
Thanks for catching it.
But no, yeah, it's Andrew. I don't know if you have any other questions for Craig. I think he's pretty much covered most on my side.
Yep, I'm good.
All right. Well, Craig, we want to keep you too long. But yeah, just great job tonight. And definitely, though, want to give you the floor for any thanks shouts for that win this evening.
No, I mean, I got to thank Jim over at 40 Raceware. I mean, he got caught out speeding, and then iRacing was another one of the weird things where iRacing was telling him to drop to the back, but no one else was getting the instruction to pass him, and all kinds of stupidity that way. More iRacing dumbness. But and you know, everyone over at 40 Raceware or at Area 51, and you guys for doing the broadcast. Love the broadcast. Love watching it back, and everyone who was watching, I hope they enjoyed the show. I'm sorry it had so many cautions, as I said, more cautions than we expected. But the racing was good while it was green.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely a lot of exciting racing. Like I said, the second half definitely kicked off a bunch there. So, but no, great job tonight, man. Great recovery. Gotta say, extend the points lead as well, I'm pretty sure. So go enjoy this one for the off week, and then look forward to seeing you those final 4 races.
Thanks, guys. You betcha. Stay safe.
All right, Andrew. That is our race winner in that number 99 of Craig Forsyth. And yeah, I mean, just eventful, I think, is the name of the game here tonight. As I say, Charles Teed's face does not want to go away no matter what I do. I say he won't complain about that, but there we go. But yeah, no, just a wild one here tonight, I think, is the best way we can put it. Again, there were some new names, new faces, maybe a couple returning names and faces that are familiar with the league, but maybe not these cars a little bit. Yeah, I say it was just, there was a lot going on tonight, I think, is the best way to sum it up.
I think that we rejuvenated this league here, and I think we're going to see some of these guys come back and maybe get a little bit of retribution. These new guys that showed up tonight and were racing out up front, they were stout. They were definitely worthy of being in this league and everything. So I think that we'll see some better participation to finish our season out here, and I'm looking forward to it.
Nah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward. So like I said, 2 weeks time, definitely going to be a challenge over at the Worldwide Technology Raceway or Gateway. But man, I mean, finishing off at Texas, Kentucky, and Auto Club, those will be some quick races where these guys will be going same thing, fighting tooth and nail. And I mean, Auto Club at the finale, like if it's not going to be Indy, I think Auto Club is pretty much the next on my list for those ones. So It's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you guys all so much for watching, for supporting us here at Green White Checker TV. We'll be back on Thursday night for the Super Speedway Xfinity Series. Fingers crossed, no DDoS attacks this time to push it back yet another week. And then, of course, back on Sunday night for the Super Speedway Truck. So, Andrew, as always, a pleasure doing these with you, man. It's a lot of fun. Love the insight and the technical details that you know. It definitely helps me out a ton as well. So, and yeah, thanks to all the drivers, again, everybody watching that chats with us and everything. Look forward to seeing you again in a few nights' time. Till then, take care, stay safe, have a good night.